And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. On this week's episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos, coming tomorrow to all podcast outlets, and I might even give our members for the Lakers Fast Break a sneak peek of a little bit of video from that episode. We're talking, is Marvel regaining some of its mojo coming out of D23 in Brazil? And also as well, on the video game front, we talk about some good things, including Dragon Age the Veilguard, and is the Wii underrated? The Wii U, excuse me? We'll go ahead and talk about the Wii U on the latest episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos, indeed. Also as well, of course, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, another great episode on tap coming later this week with Chris Ardieri and hopefully Joe Soro as well. Yes, absolutely, JSJ. Also as well, of course, the Lakerholics crew. You know they're happy, and you know they're coming back hopefully next weekend. And don't forget, during the week, you can catch what they have to say at Lakerholics.com. Also as well, of course, Empire Jeff TV, Lakers in 5, John McCalian channel, and Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Yo! Also as well, of course, don't forget Stone Hansen, Alfred Esmond, Legend, all those great channels, all those great people, and Xbox. Go ahead and catch his Facebook and YouTube channels as well. So go ahead and make sure you're helping all of our good friends out. And don't forget to help us out with a like and subscribe. We're closing in on 1,900 subscribers. We're about actually less than 10 away. 1894 last time I checked. So we're almost there to 1,900. And don't forget to be a subscriber as well. Subscribe today to get the latest notifications on what we're doing here at the Lakers Fast Break, including some inside tidbits, articles, videos, emojis, badges. I'm trying to give you the value for your $2.99 a month. So go ahead and become a member today to get the latest notifications on what we're doing each and every time out right here at the Lakers Fast Break podcast. Well, the Lakers came into Sunday again, seeing on the horizon over the next 2 weeks some very, very winnable games. I said it in the pregame. There is no excuse why the Lakers shouldn't be dominating over the next few games, although now there might be some question. We'll have to go ahead and wait and see. But first half, Lakers struggled offensively also as well, giving up way too many offensive rebounds as the Raptors pulled out to a lead, sometimes up to as much as 10 points. But the Lakers, after D'Angelo Russell ended the half with a nice 3, found its mojo back to go ahead in the second half, start providing hustle on both the defensive end and rebounding. They shored up both of those areas, got a little bit better shooting-wise as well, and started to take over late in the third quarter with a 35-27 third quarter run. And then in the fourth quarter, dominated 35-21, closed out strong, put it in cruise control, and the Raptors began to look like a team that's already thinking next season, as the Lakers finished off Toronto for this season with a 123-103 victory. Of course, the news didn't come all good as Anthony Davis got hit in the eye by Jakob Poeltl after he cleanly blocked Poeltl's shot. At the same time, Poeltl responded by scratching the cornea of Anthony Davis, the same one that got scratched earlier this calendar year. So we do not know the status coming out of it for Anthony Davis. Hopefully I can give you updates from behind the scenes in the locker room. But until then, we have no word on Anthony Davis' status. But LeBron James, Jackson Hayes, Cam Reddish, and Austin Reaves provided some good minutes on the floor in the fourth quarter, as again, the Lakers did cruise to a 123-103 victory. And here today to discuss said game in first post-game news and notes, and then let's say around 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock, he will go live on the air with, of course, his own Nightcap, where he has some pointed thoughts on LeBron James and the world of sports. He'll probably talk about the Steelers and the sports world as well. 10 o'clock sound good to you, my friend?
Yes.
Okay. It is Joe Soro, aka Ox1947 of LakersBall.com, and of course his company you need for today, Simblades with the Y.com. And if you are into the fighting game genre, you need to go ahead and wish list on Steam today his game Corrupt. Coreupt. It's coming out here in just a couple weeks, and you'll be glad you did. Joe, good solid second half for the Lakers. This is a team that they were playing. There's absolutely no excuses, even without AD in lineup. They showed in the fourth quarter. We always talk about how they just don't have enough talent, but they certainly have enough talent for the Toronto Raptors. Absolutely no excuses why they didn't get it done tonight. And of course, they did get it done, and that's all that matters. So Joe, it looks like he wigged out on me on here as far as the internet is concerned, so he'll wait for him to pop back up. I don't know what went on. What's up, Kurt? When you get a chance, email me. I got a question to ask you, my friend. When you get a chance. But great to have you here. Looking forward to a great conversation. JSJ too. Yes, please email. You guys email me. Got a question to ask you guys if I can, when possible. Whenever. No rush. Just please email me because I got it. Good game tonight. We all worried about AD and his status going forward because scratching the cornea is not a it's not a fun thing. Someone who's been poked in the eye before absolutely does not feel good. Joe, a solid win even without AD in the second half. Still provided a lot of energy over a team we are supposed to beat.
So the adjustments in the second half were stick Reddish on Mr. Dick, and he was non-existent. That was, I think, plan one. And then the other was stop leaving your men open. And you saw the results. I think you're not kind of off base here in saying that the Lakers actually have a real coach. These little things that do a 180 during a game, like ball movement, like being able to guard guys that you weren't able to guard in the first half, creating space, creating lanes so that Austin Reaves can get to the basket and draw fouls. We've discussed plenty of times that Austin Reaves does very well with contact. Are you laughing at something?
I'm laughing at Eduardo's comment. He says,
Bron
okay.
is why Joe. Hold on. Bron is why Joe still need me some more Bronny. Oh, okay. Anyways,
I'm just like,
well,
he said that with a straight face. If
I'll get the LeBron. I'll get the LeBron in a second here.
Let me just say this: if he's trolling or laughing or just kidding, okay. But if he's saying that and he means that, somebody should be coming by with the old paddy wagon, as we used to say in the day.
We'll get to LeBron here in a second. I want to give props to JJ Redick's adjustments in the second half. It took a minute to get going in the third, but they got there, and they actually started playing even better when AD got hurt. Not that that's why they started playing better, but I think the sense of urgency, that's the new modern day cliche now, the sense of urgency, even though it's been around for a while. They played harder, tighter, and got to give Jackson Hayes some credit. A lot of guys were dogging him during the game because it's easy to. But Jackson Hayes played an integral part tonight in making sure that his positioning under the basket was solid and able. And yes, I wish he'd make those cheapies more. But hey, look, I'll take a guy that's constantly a nuisance on the rebounds and also catching those nice pick and rolls from competent assist men, which LeBron was tonight. LeBron tonight is the LeBron that everyone was talking about coming out of high school. This was the one thing that they said separated him from all of the perennial greats before him, and why he was kind of tagged the Magic Johnson, the Magic Johnson coming out versus, let's say, just a Jordan. He was throwing passes tonight that were majestic. They were great. Perfectly positioned players under the basket, diving to the basket, catching them on the baseline. It was phenomenal basketball. I know the Raptors are not a good team and they're missing the number one guy, but they played from behind almost this entire game up until late in the third, and they ended up winning by 20. This is what you're supposed to do to bad teams. And they did it, and they're 5-0 at home right now, which is something that they're going to need. They're going to need to continue to play well at home because it's going to get very, very difficult when they start playing the higher echelon teams. Right now, I haven't checked the standings yet, but from earlier, a few hours ago, the West is actually probably better than we assumed they were going to be, and we already assumed they were going to be really good. The Lakers are going to have to battle, and it's going to be a really, really tough battle. December 15th can't come here enough because the Lakers desperately need at least one more big and possibly one more guy on the perimeter. Otherwise, I feel like they'll waste this, but that's a discussion for another time.
Lakers are 6-4, tied for 6th place in the Western Conference.
Yeah, positioning right now is probably not something I'm looking at. It's just too early. Lakers are 6-4. Would have loved to have had them at 8-2, and they could have had a couple things gone their way. But I'm gonna roll with this, like we talked about. Each game, we'll analyze each game according to that game, and kind of just stick to that. Otherwise, you'll go nuts. You'll go nuts thinking about the future, because typically that's how I would work in my mind. I wouldn't really think about game by game in terms of what is coming ahead. But in this situation, we'll probably stay more sane if we just focus on the game, each individual game in terms of its performance.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro. Ox1947 at LakersBall.com. Plus, of course, Simblades with a Y.com. Sorry, JSJ, I'm on my Talk Studio software. So I have to sometimes flip back and forth between live on YouTube and then my Talk Studio. It is Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much again for watching, listening. So I didn't keep up with the likes, but we're over 30. Let's get to 40. Can we get to 40 likes out there? I know you guys are out there that haven't liked it yet. Please, you're watching for minutes, sometimes hours on end. Please like the show. It helps the algorithm out. Subscribes always help the algorithm as we get closer and closer to 1,900 subscribers. It truly helps us out. And I heard a rumor that Search and Destroy is giving out some free memberships here if we get to a certain number. He is gifted 5 already. He is very generous. Truly appreciate you doing so. You never know. I might be gifting some if we get to 50. If we get to 50 likes tonight, we'll go ahead and do that for you right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. But Avant Traders,
you're awesome.
Lakers Land, Eric Newton, Mike B, Turbo Durant, they will all be gifted a membership for the Lakers Fast Break. Joe, though, again, I know you were even hard on Jackson Hayes in that first half, and it was kind of a tale of two halves for Jackson Hayes. But we saw a lot of effort. Effort is never the issue with Hayes.
You're awesome.
It's sometimes where you have to direct that effort is the problem with Jackson Hayes. In that second half, it just seems like there was a better, more controlled effort and a more directed effort on where Jackson Hayes was going on both ends of the floor, Joe.
Jackson Hayes is who he is. And
you're awesome.
I haven't gotten on Jackson Hayes too much in his year-plus stint here with the Lakers because it'd be an exercise in futility. I'm not going to expect Jackson Hayes to be a Hartenstein or a Kessler. I think you'd be bothering your brain and your thoughts too much. But the guy plays his butt off, and you got to give him props when he plays well. And then when you do kind of get irritated by certain non-execution plays, that's just emotions during the game. I'm not trying to hate on the guy too much. It's just I always kind of feel that way, especially with guys that are almost 7 feet tall. Come on, just put the ball in the hole. You can't miss from 1 foot. That's usually where my irritation comes from. Just like when we would get irritated when Rui couldn't make a layup, and then LeBron on occasion would miss layups as well. We're not picking out anybody in that. It's NBA basketball. You guys are 6'8", 6'9", almost 7 feet tall. I'd like to think that if the ball is like a grapefruit to you guys, you can't place it in the basket that being that high. And I know there's a resistance coming, but I'd like to think at some point you guys can, if you're able to get the ball that close to the rim, I think you should be able to be conditioned to make that basket, regardless of what kind of defense is coming at you on that. But the second half adjustments by JJ Redick, whether it was mental, I think a lot of it had to do with mental too. I don't know what he told them in the second half. I don't know what he told them during those timeouts. There was a timeout that he took when they were down by 10. And we were kind of going into that mode where this might be a loss, a terrible loss. Something switched there. So I don't know. We were talking about it on playback where we wished we could hear what was going on. And now I wish we could hear more. I wish we could hear it even more, because something changed after that timeout. They just seemed to click something. And coaching, when you look at the coaches from the past, the good ones, not all of them were X's and O's types. But there was a motivation. There was a click that could be there. I remember vividly when the first stint with the Lakers with Phil Jackson, and when he had to leave because him and Kobe weren't really getting, on the same page. His answer to management was, I can't get through Kobe. That was the kind of dialogue that Phil Jackson had. And that was everything with Phil. If he couldn't connect with you, if he couldn't zen with you, he was pretty adamant about it. And JJ Redick is not only doing very well with the X's and O's, but he's also clicking into something with these guys that is making them focus on whatever it is they need to do or whatever they need to do to adjust. And that's what today's game was. Regardless of who they played. Again, the Raptors are not a good team. But when you beat a team by 20, which you were behind almost 2.5 quarters.
Yeah, they were down by as many as 10.
You are, that's part of the process of, well, you did what you were supposed to do. You won by 20, not really kind of dominating the game. You expect these kind of games usually a little later in the season, but AD getting hurt also didn't really help, although I thought they kind of played better when he was gone, because I think they did feel the pressure of not letting this one go. The Lakers are going to have to win a lot of their home games if they are to have any shot at somehow getting through whatever they're getting through here. And I'm not going to say they're going to do it, guys. I'm not going to say that they're not. It's just we can't do that. It'd be too wishy-washy if we sit down and say, hey, this is a positive thing, and I think they're going to go on a run, or I think they're going to, maybe come out 20-10 after the first 30 games. As of right now, I'm looking at just tonight's game. Want to give props to the team, want to give props to Jay Redick, and definitely want to give props to Mr. LeBron James for absolutely dissecting the Raptors again in their nightmares. LeBron James with some of the most just devastating dimes that you can see in an NBA game.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening. Truly appreciate it. The Lakers do win going away, 123-103. No increased word on what's going on with Anthony Davis, other than the fact he did get scratched in the eye. After Davis went out, JJ Redick said LeBron took control of the game in all facets. He also pointed out to Jackson Hayes as a big difference maker with his energy. And Austin Reaves, for 22 of his 27 points in the second half. LeBron did get his second straight triple-double, Joe, but it is Austin Reaves I want to talk about. Austin Reaves, we were talking about how he was struggling again to start the season like he was last season, but he didn't have the same excuses, you could say, that he did in last season. This season started off a little bit rough, like I said, but in the past couple games, he started to actually, maybe it coincided with the timing of D'Lo heading to the bench. His shot has seemed more sound, more consistent, and his all-around play seems to be getting better. His facilitating, his handle, the things that we were asking him to do before, he finally seems to be doing a lot better right now, Joe.
He's ahead of schedule from last year, which is good. And D'Lo is ahead of schedule from the switch from really bad to playing well the last 2 games, as opposed to starting really well after the new year. The Lakers are desperately going to need AR and D'Lo to play like they did in the second half last year, this whole season. Rui Hachimura, another guy that's kind of who he is. I don't really get on him too much because I just kind of expect him to be on one day, off one day. Tonight was definitely a game where he was off. He was only 2 of 11 from the field, but he did make some really good defensive plays. And sometimes that happens with a lot of these guys is they can't play both sides. So he made a good effort in the second half to play really good defense, and he was good. He really played good team defense, and that tends to zap the energy out of the offense sometimes. That's just how that goes. How that goes with many of the players in the NBA. Looking at and then looking at kind of the overall performance of the team, guys like Gabe Vincent, guys like Connect.
Yeah.
Connect played 15 minutes tonight. Didn't have a stellar game, but he did hit a shot, and I'm not sure what's going on with him at the moment. I don't know if he's maybe the game is too fast for him. I think that's probably it. I would like to see JJ Redick maybe set up some plays for him.
He's not getting consistent looks, Joe, when he's out there.
And it looks like he's floating out there sometimes. And maybe that's what JJ wants him to do at the moment, to kind of observe what's going on, try to do his best to be in the right place when it matters, clear out the area. And that happens sometimes, especially when LeBron James is distributing the way he is. The spacing has to be there. The spacing has to be there, and there are veterans on this team like AR and D'Lo and Rui and Jackson Hayes and the ADs, where they need to kind of flow off instinct through certain setups, and Connect might not be there yet. I'd say he's not there yet. Maybe down the road, maybe in the next month or two, where he can kind of see that a little bit more, and then we can get him on some rolls somewhere. I don't even know where. Would it be the corners? Would it be 3-quarter area? But he played 15 minutes, hit half his shots. It could have been worse. He was a plus 13, which is the plus minus thing is the weirdest stat, I think, in basketball. It can tell you so much and then also tell you nothing. The theme of tonight's game is good defense and LeBron James dissecting the Raptors again. And this is the last time the Lakers are likely to see the Raptors this year, because I don't see any of them going to the finals. So thank you, Toronto, for coming out. It was a fun week. 2-0. We'll take it.
It is, of course, the Lakers beating Toronto 123-103. But Joe, again, another good game for Austin Reaves. It looks again. I thought timing. Sometimes it's all about timing. D'Angelo Russell heading to the bench. It looks like it's not only helped him, it's become more consistent shooting. He's actually starting to play, dare I say it, even a little bit of defense. And then you have Austin Reaves, again, like I said, since D'Lo's gone to the bench, looked a lot more smooth in his operation, maybe freeing things up a bit. I know those guys are very tight in real life, but maybe sometimes it just doesn't gel between them on the court. Didn't say all the time. Sometimes it works, sometimes it's not, but not so far to start the season. maybe it's a good thing that that JJ Redick has them split up for now, for the most part, anyways. I know that they share some minutes together, but at least starting the game and starting the second half, maybe having them in different places, one on the bench and one on the court, may not be such a bad idea after all, especially getting Reddish in there to help your perimeter defense.
Yeah, Reddish taking out Grady Dick pretty much the whole game, especially the second half, probably played a huge factor in why the Lakers were able to make a run and stay on the run. Yeah, I didn't hear about Grady pretty much the whole second half. I didn't really hear him do anything. That's a huge contrast from what was going on when they were in Toronto. So Reddish definitely deserves a big pat on the back for this. Although Reddish has been known to do things like this, I just wish there would be more consistency. I'd like to see him do this for 4 straight months, the entire season. His NBA future relies on it. So I do hope that him and his agent, his family, his friends, whomever he hangs out with, really kind of hammers that home to him and say, look, you are a performance like these last few games away for an entire season from having an NBA career. Otherwise, you're not. And that's something I'd like to think is a good motivating factor. I don't know. I just don't know how this will work. But as far as D'Angelo playing better off the bench, I don't know.
Are you surprised at all?
I don't know what to think of it yet. You know, it's almost like kind of like when a new coach comes in from the old coach being fired, everybody plays kind of to another level because it's new. Let's see how he does after a few weeks coming off the bench. I think that would be a better assessment on what was going on. But I will say this, he was disruptive on defense. He was getting his hands in the passing lanes, and he was challenging shots with and not fouling. Like he was engaged. He was really, really engaged. Defense is an effort thing. This isn't me saying it. This is something that has been said by all the great coaches. Phil Jackson was asked about what was the defensive scheme for particular games, especially during the playoffs. And I remember Mark Jackson during Game 7 of the 2010 Finals, he had complimented the Lakers. I think it was around the fourth quarter about how amazing their defense was during that game. And guys, it's effort. You have to want to play defense. These guys are phenomenal athletes. I know D'Angelo Russell isn't the athlete of a Scotty Barnes or a John Morant, but these guys are still freakish athletes. Anybody that plays in the NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, hockey, AHL, these guys are all freakish athletes. That's why they're there. You can't get to that level without having crazy athleticism. It's just that you're basing it off of their contemporaries. And of course, you have other guys that are just, next level, right? 10, 12 levels, some of them. But if D'Angelo can put this kind of effort in, and he's young and he's fit, and this isn't something like LeBron where he's in his late 30s, he should be doing this, and he helps the team greatly when he does this. So that's another person I wanted to kind of give a little bit of props to. We have been doing that a lot for. Thank you for putting that effort in, and please continue to do so, even if you're going to get scorched by better talent, which is likely coming. You're going to have to deal with the John Morants here on Wednesday. Probably, I don't know if Desmond Bane's coming back.
No, John Morant's going to be out. Most likely.
So John Morant's going to be out, and then, I don't know, is Desmond Bane slated to come back? You never know these days.
You never know. He has still been out. I haven't gotten an update on him yet. It'll most likely be Scottie Pippen Jr. But let me go find out what the backcourt was tonight for. I know I was looking at Jay Huff and Scottie Pippen overall, but for tonight when they blew out Portland by 50, actually, no, I'm sorry, 45. They blew them up in Portland. That is sad. You spent money to go to the Rose Garden, Joe, and your team lost by 45. That's just terrible. They played Jalen Wells and Scottie Pippen Jr., and they beat Portland Trailblazers by 45. That was their starting lineup. So Aldama, Brandon Clark, Jaren Jackson Jr., Jalen Wells, and Scottie Pippen Jr. That was the starting lineup that destroyed Portland. That Chauncey Billups, man, that's a lousy job you're doing in Portland right there, Joe.
At this point, does Portland sell? Do they sell so that they could have a shot at getting a top pick in June?
Good question.
And then get a new coach at that point. I think after about a month, maybe two, probably the end of the year, I think you'll probably have that answer soon enough. You're gonna have to somehow figure out a way to. I mean, last year they were 21-61. They were the worst team in the West. So I think they're gonna have to probably tank again on that one. I think they're probably gonna have to tank, and
I think they're already in tank mode already, Joe.
And if they are, then we're gonna see what can be mustered up. Portland is a team that we've talked about where there could be some help there. The Chicago Bulls is another. There's a trade in Atlanta that I've been kind of looking at. I wish there was something in Milwaukee that we can do, but I don't. There's no assets to do that one. Maybe the fact that this year's NFL trade deadline has surpassed the NBA trade deadline, maybe that puts a spider in Adam Silver's pants, and actually somehow something happens here, and hopefully the Lakers can benefit from it.
And not to be too mean to Lakers fans, but Scottie Pippen Jr. tonight, 17 points, 4 assists, and Jay Huff outplayed Zach Edey tonight. Both came off the bench, but Jay Huff had 12 points and six block shots tonight, Joe. And 2 3-pointers. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that.
It's starting to look like the Memphis Grizzlies are. Taylor Jenkins seems to have tapped into something this year. I don't know what he did.
They're 7-4 right now, just to let everyone know.
I don't know what he did, but if that team is healthy in the end, and John Moran is playing at starting all-star team level, there's going to be some stuff there for Memphis. I think Memphis is going to be a problem. As far as the Lakers players going to Memphis, it seems, and developing really well, I want to reiterate that it's much easier to play in Memphis than with the LA Lakers. It really is. And I think Jay Huff and Scottie Pippen Jr. are benefiting from that. I really never really had any opinion about Jay Huff. Mm-hmm. Scottie Pippen Jr., when he was here, I saw some physical deficiencies that I didn't think would work. I wasn't really sure if he'd be in the NBA for a while. I had no really clear assessment of that. It could have gone either way. I never really, I just didn't think he was going to work in LA. I think that was probably my only.
I didn't think his jump shot would ever get fixed, and it did. And he's been really good for Memphis. He's playing himself into a nice big contract when he becomes a free agent, Joe.
So to put that in to put that in what we've been discussing about someone like Zach Edey. Zach Edey's skill set is set more pre 2005 talent. If Zach develops a jump shot, if he develops a way to defend with energy in a 48-minute game consistently, he will have a long career in the NBA.
Yeah, because there's some games already that he looks very dominant. Just others, when there's a lot of speed, like you mentioned before, speed. If the game gets too fast, then that's where Zach Edey is less effective out there on the court.
Well, he'll get exploited against really, really good teams, and definitely in the playoffs. So he's going to have to develop that. And Brook Lopez bucked the trend of not being able to develop late in the career. If Brook Lopez, this is still the anomaly that I can't understand. And maybe he was just the first one of this new phase of the NBA. So, there's always the first one, right?
Mhm.
Brook Lopez was a 28 guy, 20.8 rebound guy for years. Not really good on defense, really couldn't shoot.
Couldn't rebound.
Couldn't rebound, couldn't shoot, couldn't play defense. All of a sudden, he's a runner-up at Defensive Player of the Year, and it was shooting threes like Manute Bol.
He started here in Vegas. Remember, in LA, excuse me, for the Lakers. He started that process of transitioning into that his only year with the Lakers, Joe, if you remember.
I brought up Manute Bol because I remember Manute Bol towards the end of his career. This is when I was young. Was shooting threes, and he was making them.
Mhm.
That was the memory I had. Like a big man who was known of doing one thing, and then all of a sudden he starts shooting threes at a time when threes weren't the thing either.
No. Overall, it doesn't look good in the stat line, but yes, he was making them for a time as well. Yes.
Taylor Jenkins right now, if I had to pick Coach of the Year right now, he's showing up. He's showing up on the top. And if this continues, I think there's a very good chance he ends up winning it. And John Morant seems to be in focus mode, which is everything. If John Morant is focused on basketball and not being distracted by anything, Memphis is going to be a problem. You have him, you have Desmond Bane, you have a lot of depth, you have a good coach, you have a good, stable environment over there in Memphis. So you're not going to have the headaches like the Lakers do or the Knicks do or the Boston Celtics do. You're going to have every chance to just focus on playing basketball. And I think I haven't been following Scottie Pippen Jr.'s regimen, but it just seems like Scottie has taken this really, really seriously, and I'm very, very happy for him. Really, really happy for him. I'm glad he's succeeding. I really am. And good for J Huff as well. And I'm hoping Castleton starts to play well over there as well. I don't know if that's going to happen, but and Castleton, I don't think we gave up on Castleton. I just think Castleton didn't show. That one might be a shocker if he ends up playing really, really well a little bit, because I just did not see anything the last couple of years that warranted him to be a big man that can probably stay consistent in a rotation.
Once again, it is the Lakers winning 123-103. The Lakers move to 6-4 on the season. They're tied for sixth place in the Western Conference with a bevy of other teams. But it's Joe Soro from AKA Ox 1947, LakersBall.com, along with me, Joe Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening to the Lakers. Again, they have Memphis coming up on the horizon, a team that on the surface you'd say doesn't look like, if it has Desmond Bane or John Morant, doesn't have a chance, but they just blew out Portland by 45. They're coming in playing with a whole lot of confidence. But be that as it may, Joe, the next 2 weeks until they play the Nuggets on the 28th, I believe, if I remember correctly, they have a very winnable schedule. They are playing against teams that they could be very competitive against, and there should be a few wins on that ledger by the time they get to Denver. I'm saying if they get to at least 10 wins before they reach Denver, I think the Lakers will play with a lot more confidence and could be a lot more competitive once they play against the Mile High team.
I just feel like there's too much, like these little injuries that come up. Like, I'm waiting for this to stop. Is this ever going to stop?
I don't know. And by the way, Thameless, Miles Turner is not having a good season for Indiana right now. So I don't know how much, the old days when Laker Tom used to pine for Miles Turner every single day, those days are not there right now because Miles Turner has been a disappointment so far for the Pacers.
What is it going to take for this team to have Cam Reddish, AD not get hit in the face for the 10th time in a week, LeBron not get punched in the face? What's it going to take to get these guys to just have a consistent starting lineup, a good rotation going, week in, week out? The last time that happened was 2020. it's just I don't know what to say. I don't know how to gauge the next week. They're playing against teams that they can be competitive with and possibly beat, especially now with John Morant not playing Wednesday and possibly Desmond Bane not playing. And then you go to San Antonio, New Orleans next. Sure, they have a chance there. Then you play Utah at home, Orlando. I think Pablo's is he going to be back by then?
Banchero's out he's got that oblique tear. It's not a
Okay.
strain, it's a tear.
Okay.
Actually,
So you have 5 games right now where you kind of get lucky in that you're playing some of the really good teams without their star guys. Can you come out of this at least 3-2? Now
I don't want to go Laker Tom. I don't want to go Laker Tom, but maybe 4-1. Is that doable?
I'm trying to be a little realistic. I'm thinking,
okay.
If you win the home game and you split the San Antonio New Orleans trip, then you beat Utah, and I guess you could beat Orlando, but Orlando's still got a really good team without Pablo.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to gauge this team with its constant somebody getting injured or somebody not focusing. I think with JJ Redick as the coach, I think maybe that's less likely to happen, but I don't know. I have to see how that plays out. If they're 4-1 in the next 5 games, then you're looking at a 10-5 record before they play Denver. It's a pretty good start. 9-6 looks good too, though, I guess.
Robert Wheeler always asking great questions when he comes here. Joe, do you think LeBron is intentionally not scoring much in the first half to get his teammates involved, which he's done before, then increases the scoring load in the second half, which he had to once AD got injured? Last 2 games, LeBron had 5 and 7 points at halftime. Your thoughts on how LeBron is distributing his minutes and how, I guess, from the playmaking standpoint, because it's resulted in 2 triple doubles, Joe.
I feel pretty confident that it's preserving. I think it's preserving himself for the long haul. And LeBron is going to let the game kind of dictate what he's going to do, whether he's going to pass more, whether he's going to get to the basket. Because if you watch the second half, right when they started making that run where they were extending the lead, he was getting to the basket. If they were giving him a lane, he was going to the basket. And him not being aggressive in the first half, I think has more to do with the fact that he's probably trying to preserve as much energy for what happened towards the end of the game. You saw him towards the end of the game. He had a lot of energy. He could get to the basket, could draw contact. We've seen him sometimes go too fast at the beginning of games and then kind of die out in the end. I think he's trying to reverse that. And it's probably why they were struggling to beat Toronto at the beginning. This is the hard part. This is the hard part of this discussion, especially if you start playing with really good teams. If you're going to play good teams and you let them do what Toronto did in the first half, you're probably not going to come back in the second half. They'll probably extend the lead. It wouldn't be a 10-point lead, it'd be a 20-point lead. It's very difficult to assess a game plan with the Lakers right now, and it's very difficult to assess the current talent pool with how it's going to perform with the elite teams, because it doesn't look good. It does, if you want to be realistic about it, it doesn't look good. They can't do what they did tonight against a really good team, otherwise they're losing that game. But how do you do it? How do you be competitive and still have enough energy to continue this for 82 games? Guys are going to have to do what Reddish did tonight. Reddish is going to have to do that every game. Be available. You're going to need AR to control the ball, to distribute the ball a little bit too, so you can have LeBron not have as much activity, not much labor intensiveness. AR's game is getting to the paint and drawing contact and maybe getting and ones. He's been doing that for a few years now. That takes a huge load off LeBron and AD if you can do that, and it collapses the defense on them, so that'll open up a lane, that'll open up space, so that if you do commit, let's say one or maybe two guys to AR, you're going to be able to get, and you saw it tonight, you're going to be able to get Jackson Hayes on alley-oops and easy layups as well as AD. It's a lot. Basketball is so reactionary, man. It is so reactionary. I think more reactionary than any sport. Baseball is, at least now, it maybe used to be a lot more reactionary, but baseball now has become if you notice, you hear a lot in baseball, once you get to the third at bat with players, they got that iPad out and they're like, okay, this guy's more likely going to throw a sweeper here and he's more than likely going to throw a curvy. Like, everything's kind of booked when it comes to that. Now the players have to just kind of gauge the pitcher from there. Football is just let the quarterback do his thing, and if you hit the quarterback too hard, you get a penalty. That's pretty much what football is nowadays. Basketball, it's still reactionary, more reactionary than it probably ever has been, because the ball is moving much quicker. It's constantly being shot quicker, faster, more efficient, more activity. It's not bringing the ball up and dribble, get it to the post, let the post guy find the open guy, or let somebody slash to the basket. None of that stuff's going on. Now it's like all over the place. Everybody's reacting to whatever's going on in that particular play at that time.
Once again, it is the Lakers winning 123-103 in 4 minutes. I turn it over to Joe for the nightcap. So, Joe, you better get that drink ready, my friend. A celebratory drink for the Lakers winning 123-103.
I'll go get it right now.
There you go. And on that note, I'll put him to the side right there. It is great to have everyone here. Joe will be coming up in just a few minutes right here on the nightcap. But cannot thank you enough. And before he comes back on, I want to share to you our schedule that I'm hoping will come to fruition here. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get that for you right there. Let me go ahead and bring it up. I showed it to the members earlier. So if you remember, you are already knowledgeable what's going on, and become a member today for $2.99. So there we go. That's the schedule I have planned. If all goes well, you know my crew, you know my panelists. They always have their own agendas. So this is always subject to change. But tomorrow for Veterans Day, and big shout out to all you veterans that have served for our country. It is obviously a great honor that we could go ahead and as far as thank you for what you've done for our country, the time and energy that you took as far as making the commitment to our being part of our service is just outstanding. And I have nothing but the highest of compliments for you in doing that and taking that plunge into the world of our armed forces. But yes, to our veterans, I want to say thank you, and we will honor you tomorrow on Veterans Day. But also wanted to mention on Veterans Day, looking to do a Lakers 101 as per request. I didn't forget. I had a note, and I'm going to go ahead and do it. Lakers 101 on the 1995 Lakers. Why were they so fun to watch? Joe and I will discuss that tomorrow at Lakers Fast Break University for Lakers 101. I'm assuming 9 p.m. We're going to try, but you know Joe, if he has busy, he wants to put it later, we'll make it later. NBA observations. Reggae Joe, who sometimes is in the chat, he said, Gerald, I'm going to get a camera, I'm going to get a mic. I want to be on the air and talk NBA with you. You know he's a big OKC fan. You know he probably wasn't happy earlier tonight about Golden State going in there and thumping them. So we'll talk about OKC, we'll talk about the Lakers, and we'll talk about the NBA on Tuesday with Reggae Joe. Hopefully around 5 p.m. he's confirmed that he's going to be available for that as well. And then, of course, on Wednesday, Lakers pregame, along with Lakers Memphis, and the postgame as well. Thursday, Lakers snack pack on whatever is trending with the Lakers. We'll go ahead and do that on Thursday. Lakers pregame on Friday for Lakers San Antonio. Remember, that's an early game. They're on the road. Lakers postgame and the back-to-back on Saturday. Lakerholic Spotlight at noon. Well, deciding that's up to them, of course, because, you know, they always argue and bicker about what time they start. And then also as well, pregame, Lakers in New Orleans, and the Lakers postgame nightcap on Saturday as well. So that is a tentative schedule I have for everyone out there for us. But for now, it is 10 o'clock. I'm going to immediately bring it over to Joe. I'm going to put on the intro here. But again, want to thank everyone. I will be popping in a little bit, but I'm going to let Joe do his thing first. He's got a big rant coming up on LeBron James, so you don't want to miss that. So it's coming up here right now on the Lakers Fast Break because it's time. Just waiting for 10 o'clock to hit. Come on, give it to me. 10 seconds left. So 10 seconds left. Let me say once again, it is the Lakers winning 123 to 103. Please like and subscribe since we're staying on the air. Search has said if we get to 50 likes, we will be giving out some memberships. So please go ahead and like and subscribe as well. So for Joe Soro, it's Gerald Glassford. It's the Lakers Fast Break post game turning into the nightcap right about now.
Oh yeah, went right with the pour. I felt tonight was a whiskey night. Honey Jack, my favorite. I do a little mix when it's a celebratory situation like tonight. I also want to clear the air tonight a little bit. We've discussed the post game for the Toronto win tonight. Cheers, Kurt. Salud. Mark. Top of the morning, top of the afternoon, top of the evening for everyone out there. Drink to victory, baby. So I wanted to have a yes, cool bro, you can watch. Want everybody to watch. I want everyone to listen because I think this is starting to become Gerald, can you take this thing off, please? I don't know what the hell this is. I can't get it off because I'm not signed in on this. But I want to clear up this LeBron James situation with me. I got a scolding email or emails from Sean Harder. I don't know if he's watching, but I'm going to ask you guys some questions, and I want an honest answer from everyone, and I'm going to try to gauge all the questions and all the answers and try to play this answer game so that everyone's clear on this and it's on tape. Gerald, where are you? Get this thing off. Whatever the hell this is.
All right. Sorry, man. I'm trying to make my dinner here, man. Give me a break. Give me a break, man.
I didn't know you were eating dinner at 10 o'clock at night.
Well, some of us has got to do the show, and some of us sacrifice for the better good.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay, but did you want to still do a poll? I can still see if I can do a poll for you.
Go ahead.
All right, I'll try to put a poll in there because I always wanted to engage with your audience. Start a poll. What's the question?
Does Joe Soro hate LeBron James?
Oh, yes. Sorry. You're going to get an overwhelming response on that, my friend. All right.
Well, I'm going to explain it tonight so that it's on tape. The poll coming out?
It should be showing up there. I know I've never done one on YouTube before like this, so if it shows up there.
Okay, let me clear this up. I'm going to start from the beginning, and then I'm going to use former Laker examples as well. Someone like Kobe Bryant, Magic Johnson, Pau Gasol, so that you all can understand
it's yes, 62%. Just
where I'm coming from. How many votes?
13 votes so far.
So what? 9 out of 13?
14. There's 14 votes. Somebody's toggling their vote back and forth at 64% to 36%.
Okay, I thought it was going to be worse.
Okay.
All right, so let's go back to 2018. And again, have your drinks, guys. Ask the questions. I will get to your questions. So if you guys want to type your questions, go ahead and do it. So 2018.
I'll be back.
Thank you. 2018, And there's a heavy rumor, pretty solid rumor that LeBron's coming to LA. I'm going to tell you guys what I was thinking at the time so that you don't think that I'm too harsh, but it looks like you guys, some of you already think I am. I was excited. Why was I excited? I'll tell you why I was excited. I was excited because the losing those previous 3 years was eating at my insides. There was a moment up until 2017, right around January, where I hadn't missed a Laker game since 2007. We're talking about 10 years. I had not missed one Laker game. Not a playoff game, not a regular season game, not maybe a preseason game here and there, but nothing in terms of games that mattered. I heard that Magic was sitting outside his house at 12:01, and he was ready to, promote the Lakers. Right when I found out that LeBron was coming to LA, I was very excited. And why am I telling you this? Why am I saying this? Well, it should prove to you that if I was excited about him coming to LA, that you guys all know that I wasn't about what was going on in LeBron's previous stuff. And you've heard me talk about this. You've heard me talk about this with the decision. What I couldn't understand with the decision in 2010 was why were so many people upset at him, with exception to Cleveland. Cleveland had every right to be upset. Every right. I didn't mind that one. That one makes sense. But why were other people so upset that he left Cleveland? Acting like your ass wouldn't leave Cleveland for Miami? You wouldn't do that? And if you knew the environment in Cleveland, and it's really wasn't to no fault of anyone. Folks, no one wants to go to Cleveland. In the NFL, there are players that have to go to certain places like Detroit, Cleveland, Chicago, cold places, right? But the way the NFL is set up is there's a hard cap. You got to get your money where you can get it. That's the whole point of that. You go wherever the most money is, and that's how that's set up. With the NBA, with Major League Baseball, a lot of times you don't need to do that because the cap is either flexible enough to where you can go where you want or stay with who you are. Usually it's the place you want to stay, right? Like a Miami and LA. Or, you got to be forced to be traded there. So I was never a LeBron detractor. I was never a hater in that. And there's no evidence of it, so you're never going to know. You have to believe me on that. I knew why people didn't like LeBron. It's a lot of the reasons why he irritates some of us now. But it didn't matter to me then. It didn't have any bearing on me then because he wasn't wearing a Laker uniform. My disdain for LeBron in certain instances throughout his career here have leaned towards more of what he says off the court, because a lot of times he's ill-informed, and it's proof. You can find proof of it. He's talking about certain social things or certain people, and he comes off very immature and ill-informed, and that tends to irritate me because it takes away from the basketball thing in a lot of ways. Like the respect that I have for him on the basketball court tends to kind of damper it a little bit. Now, when he came to LA, they were drawing murals in and around LA. And you know what was happening? They were spray painting everything. They were defaming it. Like no one in LA were like, hey, this is Kobe town, baby. This is 5 championship Kobe, Magic. Like this is Magic and Kobe territory. Shaq territory. LeBron doesn't get a mural for just coming to LA. So it wasn't just me. It was a lot of people that didn't feel like LeBron was an LA guy. The reason why people love Kobe, even though he's a transplant of LA, is that Kobe was about the killer part. And that's what LA loved. They loved that killer. They loved the tenacity. And LeBron isn't really tenacious. He's an easygoing guy, kind of go with the flow, try to make everybody happy on the court, blah, 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 blah. So, that you all know how that is. And recently we discussed about how LeBron, when he passes too much at the end of games, it tends to be, the smart play is getting the ball in the basket, not getting it to the open guy. And I have to give him credit for this. The last year or so, he's actually been very aggressive in getting the ball to the basket. And that's a good thing. And maybe I don't talk about enough of the good things that LeBron says, and it makes everybody angry because I do bring up the bad. But I'm not going to go back on this, guys. I'm not going to go back on the fact that he had been a huge factor in not allowing the Lakers to acquire talent this year. Whether it's because he took max money, whether he force-fed this family thing on the Lakers. Those things are all true, folks. I'm thinking about the Lakers. And I'm also not very happy with him when he has little cryptic codes. And that stuff, again, is a distraction to winning. I'm not following him on Twitter. I'm minding my own business. And I'm ready to watch a game. And the only thing that I'm hearing is about some tweet that he said where he's unhappy. Those are the things that irritate me about LeBron James. If you want to consider that a hate thing and you're kind of narrow-minded and you're like going to roll with it, then I can't do anything for you. I can't. I am not like everyone else who doesn't like LeBron James. My disdain for certain things that he does has nothing to do with his past or whether some guy in Miami, Orlando, San Francisco doesn't like him. I don't care that he's a billionaire. I don't care about any of that stuff. None of it. And comparing him to Kobe, or let's say some of you think that maybe my top 5 picks or top 10 picks are skewed towards more of players that aren't LeBron. So I'm going to go into that for a minute here. Let me have a little drink. So I felt like this was starting right after I gave my top 5. My top 5 was Magic, Jordan, Bird, Kobe, and Kareem. And a few people came at me on that one. They thought Kobe probably shouldn't have been on there. Or actually, they were actually talking about Larry Bird. And I'm sorry to say this, but if you weren't around to watch those guys play, I watched the tail end of Kareem. I watched the tail end of Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, all of Jordan, all of Kobe. Okay, I know LeBron is great. I know his stats are great. I know all this, but there's a certain thing in my top 5 that clicks when it matters, and it might not matter to you, but it matters to me. When you look at guys like Kareem, you look at Magic. Even though Magic did it with a smile, Magic was a killer. Magic beat the Celtics twice. Should have been 3 times if Worthy hadn't made that mistake in Game 2 in '84. Magic was lethal. And Kareem was mean. Kobe was mean. Larry Bird was mean. Michael Jordan is mean. And you could talk to all my friends that have known me for 25, 20 years. What is the first thing I talk about when it comes to like the team that's winning and beating people? I even talked about it with the 2001 Lakers, the best Laker team I've ever seen. You had Fish. This was kind of the ending lineup. You obviously started with Horace Grant at power forward, but then Horry would come in towards the end of games, right? So you had Fish, Kobe, Fox, Horry, and Shaq. The 5 meanest you-know-whats at that time. Like, those guys were all just mean, and they served business. That's what I'm used to. I'm not used to the baby-faced killer and Steph Curry. I'm not used to LeBron James being the passive-aggressive. If that bothers you, then I'm sorry. I trust Kobe Bryant, Larry Bird more than I trust LeBron James to win. That's just it's what they've shown. It's what they've shown in their careers. And we can go into the details about all this other stuff. It would probably be a 4 or 5 hour show. So if you guys want to email me or you want to hit me up on social media and you want to delve into it a little bit more, I can go back and forth with you. Or maybe when we have one of our other shows, we can talk about it because it is late. I don't like to usually do the nightcap for more than an hour or so. But there are a lot of details to this that I could explain to make it make sense. Because not every career is created equal. Magic's career, Jordan's career, LeBron's career, Kobe's career, Shaq's career, none of those careers are the same. And that plays a factor in how things develop. Kobe Bryant, especially, Kobe Bryant and Magic came into teams that were ready to win right away. Yes, they did help in the process of getting them there, but they were already really good teams versus when Shaq came to Orlando, Jordan came to Chicago, LeBron came to Cleveland. All three of those guys came into full-on number one option, day one on bad teams. And their careers and their numbers and their accolades are different. They're different. Magic Johnson, if he had gone to a lesser team, might have won probably 4 or 5 MVPs during that time versus probably giving up a little bit until around 87 for Kareem. Kobe wasn't the first option until Shaq left. You know, those things matter in a career. You have to kind of dissect that. That's why it's very hard to compare eras and compare careers in a lot of ways, because it's a circumstance thing. You can't control that. But what you can assess is when you look at the skill set, as great as LeBron is, as freakish as he is, he can rebound, he can score, he can assist, all that. He still is not as potent at his peak as a Jordan or a Kobe. Kobe and Jordan didn't have any weaknesses. And when you put Jordan ahead of Kobe, the reason why you put Jordan ahead of Kobe a little bit is Jordan had an extra gear that God gave him or whomever the universe gave him. He had another gear, like he could get up higher, larger hands, like that was the difference. But in terms of pure basketball, none of Kobe or Jordan at their peaks didn't have a weakness. They could hit the mid-range, they could hit threes when they needed to, they could box, they can back you up on down in the paint. They can dunk. They can go baseline. They can play defense. Like they did everything. And then when you go to Larry Bird, which is where kind of the drift was a little bit, folks, Larry Bird from 1980 to 1987 won 3 MVPs, won 3 championships, and was the scariest player in the NBA. People were definitely afraid of that guy. And that guy went through Dr. J. He went through the Lakers. He went through the Pistons. Like the competition at that time was ridiculous. And I'm going to put a button on this a little bit, and this is going to hurt. Folks, I know LeBron went to the finals 10 years in a row. But guys, at least between 2000 and 2020, it was abysmal. Competition matters. If LeBron was in the West during most of his career, he would not have gone to the finals that many times. That matters. Kobe still has the record for most 50-win teams in the playoffs in a series. Competition matters. So, what do you think, Gerald? Have I made a good, appealing point here, or am I still going to be behind?
I've been listening, and I have, the advantage is when you have Go Wireless, you can listen to you throughout the house, or on my refrigerator. But
you're bragging about your headphones. Okay, gotcha.
Yes, yeah. But I wanted to say this, and the reason why I'm on now, I'm going to go back off here in a minute, is I was having a discussion with someone the other day that was trolling LeBron when I said the comments about how I was sugarcoating LeBron, and I was saying that LeBron is the best 39-year-old I have ever seen. He is the best. Statistically, he is the best 39-year-old ever. Is he the best basketball player ever to me? No, it's Michael Jordan. And somebody was trying to throw Michael Jordan out, and you just look at the stats. When he came back after being gone for 3 seasons, Joe, when in his 38 and 39-year-old seasons when he played with Washington, he was a shell of what he was about what you've just been talking about for the past 10, 15 minutes when it comes to Michael Jordan. You would agree with me when you saw him, when you did see him, and by his numbers, he was nowhere near the player that LeBron is at 39 now. It's not a comparison. But just saying he's the best 39-year-old player ever is still saying he is 39. And with that, there are lapses in his game. There are times when he looks old. There are times he does not play defense. There's a lot of times when he doesn't play defense. There are some times where he still steps it up and turns back the clock, but there are a lot of times where he looks 39 years old. That pisses a lot of us off. So is he the better 39-year-old than Michael Jordan or anybody else? I would have to say yes. But is he overall the best player ever? I would still say no. And the fact is, it's just you have to separate the two overalls from the rest of his career to what he's doing now. And again, we should still be thankful that he's able to do this at 39. But my argument with Sean is that he's 39 and he's a billionaire, Joe. He didn't have to take $50 million, even if he gave a small reduction back to Rob because of his mismanagement. He didn't have to take $50 million plus. He could have gone like Jalen Brunson did in New York and signed a smaller deal in order to try and facilitate more players, better players getting on the team. He could have done that and chose not to, Joe. He also could have told the Lakers, hey, Bronny James is not a player that's ready for the NBA at this point in time. He's my son, and I can evaluate him personally. He is not a player that can help us right now. He didn't do that. Or he could have said, hey, put this guy on a two-way, send him to South Bay for the entire year. He didn't do that, Joe. Instead, we have what we have. Now we're going to have Bronny sitting on the bench, taking up a roster spot everywhere we go on the road and virtually every game all year. He plays only half the games in the G League, and he'll never get a chance to develop because of what's going on right now. So, in essence, nobody can tell me out there that winning is now most important thing in his life. That's the thing with Jordan, that Jordan does beat him as a 39-year-old. Even Jordan at 39 years old, with all of his athleticism robbed, with him just doing turnaround jumpers and playing in the post like he did at 39, Joe, he still wanted to win a hell of a lot more, in my opinion, than LeBron. And that's what the problem is I have, is LeBron not doing the things that are necessary in order for the Lakers to get to a better spot. And that's the problem I have. I mean, it looks great on court. Tonight, another triple-double. Another fantastic job for LeBron. But as you and I talk about, it's more than the surface. It's more than just what you see as far as for a period of time or a game or two. It's the whole thing when it comes to LeBron. It's the whole arcing thing, what is done off the court and what is done on when it concerns LeBron James. And I think people don't always get it. And I think when you and I talk about that, we're not LeBron hating. We're LeBron realism here. We're just trying to tell you exactly how we see it and how it actually is, Joe.
Kurt, he thinks that I don't like or I hate on LeBron James. And some of you agree with that. And it's something that I can't get away from because I'm aggressive with it. There was a comparison to being a Kobe guy, and the reason why I'm not a LeBron guy is because I'm a Kobe guy. And I don't know how many times I got to say this. I don't know how many times I got to say this, but it just doesn't seem to resonate. But I am doing this show about LeBron because I wanted an elongated discussion so that if somebody can actually get all the information in one show instead of in increments like we've been discussing for the last year or so. Kobe Bryant got paid a severance pay, a large severance pay the last 2 years, correct, Gerald?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's where I think some of us have an issue with that.
So I didn't have an issue with it, and I'll tell you why. The NBA has minimum payment contracts. I believe it's 90 to 95%. I can't remember the exact details, and with the new CBA, I haven't had a chance to really see the update. So regardless of what was going on at that time, they had to pay someone that money, and they decided to give it to Kobe as a severance. I'm not saying that they didn't do that as a thank you, Kobe. But at the same time, you have to understand where the Lakers were at that point. They were playing to get draft picks. They were not playing to win championships. So paying Kobe that money or not paying him was irrelevant, because even if they had used that money to go get talent for Kobe, were they going to win? Were they going to beat the Warriors during their peaks? No.
No.
So you have to understand, folks, if you're going to come at us with some stuff and we come back with evidence on why, you got to start listening, because you guys don't seem to know the same stuff we know. I'm not making these assessments on feelings. You guys know this. You know I don't feel. I am not a feeler. I don't do that. You know this. I wanted LeBron to win in 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. And if you went back at me and said, Kobe this, Magic, I don't give a shit, because you know what that would have meant? The Lakers are winning, and that's all that matters. So if there's a player or an agency or a management that's a detractor to winning, it doesn't matter who you are. I don't care what you've done. I'm going to call your ass out. LeBron, Pelinka, Genie, it doesn't matter. And I'm going to bring the non-armchair quarterback information. I'm not just going to sit here and say, God, every time they lose, it's their fault. Every time they win, I support them. I hate when people do that. I have to explain this about Dave Roberts. I'm like, hold on. I was talking to EJ about this, Empire Jeff. We were talking about this because he's been a supporter. I've not, because Dave was making terrible decisions. And lo and behold, what happened this year? What happened this year? He started getting away from the analytics in certain parts of the game, and guess what? Things started working out. Wow, what a coincidence. He ends up having probably the greatest run for a manager in a playoff. This guy had no pitchers. He won a World Series, and they practically dominated. All we were asking is manage the game, stop looking at the book, stop looking at the laptop for a minute. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you, do you think the Dodgers will be hurt because they just lost their first base coach? He became a manager. He just got hired as a manager, correct?
That was going to happen.
Okay, but he just got hired as a manager for another team.
Good for him. We love him here.
Okay, I'm just asking.
That's inevitable. When you're good. You're going to get hired.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I'm not. McCullough's, man. That one of the images. One of the images I have of Freddie hitting that grand slam is actually him doing this with Freddie. That's a really cool picture. I would love to put that on the wall. And I usually don't like to put stuff on the wall, as you guys can see. I'm not a wall picture guy, but that was inevitable, Gerald. This is what happens. Just like when you win a Super Bowl, the offense coordinator, defense coordinators, all those guys end up finding other jobs. So good for him. Very happy for him. I hope he does well in Miami. Going back to LeBron. I am a Laker fan, folks. And yes, LeBron is different than Kobe. Kobe comes from more of my ilk. Kobe's mean. He's a lethal winner. He wants to destroy everything around him. He just wants to be that guy. And I identify with that. And it just so happens that he played with the Lakers, but I also identify more with Larry Bird too, even though he was a Celtic. You see where I'm getting at it with this, Gerald?
Yeah, I do.
That's how those are the guys that I connect with. I don't connect with LeBron, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to back him up. That doesn't mean I don't want him to be a Laker. Except now, at this point, I'm thinking about the team and its transition to the next phase so that they can get as close to competing for a championship again as possible. I'm not going to sit here and kiss LeBron's ass because of what he did last year even. I don't care what happened last year. I don't care that he scored 40,000 points. Yes, it's cool. He did it in the Laker uniform. It's cool to watch at that time. But guys, I am a championship. I'm a championship focused fan. I also do know that you can't win a championship every year, and sometimes there is a little bit of a rebuild, and that's fine. That is fine too. But this team is not in that spot. They're in that purgatory area where they have allocated almost all of their salary cap for two guys, and they don't have enough to field a team to even develop into the next phase or win a championship. So what do you want me to say? Who is responsible for this? Who has been responsible for this situation the last 6 months? It's not Austin Reaves. It's not JHS. It's LeBron James. He shipped this like this. He created this last year. And it really started after 2022 when he kind of meddled into panic mode by, I guess, somehow discussing with management about how they needed to go get a third guy because they're worried about Harden in Brooklyn. This is all online, guys. This isn't something I made up. It's all documented. So what do you want me to say? This team has not competed for a title for a while. So what's next? Are you just going to keep shoveling shit into the tide, into the water, whatever that saying is? What are you going to do? Are we supposed to be excited every time his son comes out from whatever the hole he's in to just run around on court? Guys, come on. Grow up. This isn't the YMCA, man. This is the NBA. And this is the Lakers. And if that is upsetting to you, and if that's hating on LeBron, then you got problems. Got nothing to do with it. I'm about winning. Are you going to win, or are you going to hold hands on the court and cheer about some guy who can't play? No. You guys got to open your brains a little bit. Got to open it up. 2012, it's on record. You got to go look at the archives. I blamed Powell and I blamed Kobe for the loss against the Oklahoma City Thunder. I had discussions about this at that time. The Lakers had that series until Kobe and Powell screwed it up at the end of two of those games. So I'm not soft on Kobe either. Kobe cost us the 2004 championship. He even admitted that, by the way. I had said it before, and then he admitted it. He admitted it to Shaq when he interviewed him. It's all there, folks. This isn't me. I just want to hate. So, in conclusion, and I'll take some of your guys' questions after this, I do not dislike LeBron James, even off the court. I think he's a good dude. I really do. He says stupid things, but so do half my friends. And I criticize him just as much. I think he's a good dude. I really do. Not a guy I'd probably hang out with, but he's a good dude. I could hang out with him, but we probably wouldn't click. Just, that happens. It's what it is. Good dude. One of the best basketball players I've ever seen, without a doubt. LeBron could have retired 7 years ago and still not put a blemish on anything in his career. Anything he does, anything he's done in the last 7 years has been extra. It's just extra. Like, he didn't need to do the last 7 years. He still would have been probably top 6 in my book. Now, if he had won one more championship, I think he would have, I'm pretty sure he would have replaced someone in the top 5 for sure. Probably Larry Bird. But see, the problem, guys, is the same reason what makes you great sometimes can also be a negative. So LeBron has been very controlling of his career, his image, all that stuff. And I understand that, and I respect that. But at the same time, it can hurt you in the places that matter a lot. And Kobe in the same way. The Kobe Shaq thing. I know Shaq he's still immature in a lot of ways. Was immature back in the day, but I would have liked to have thought that Kobe was smart enough to get around that, but he wasn't. He was too emotional, and it cost the Lakers a real 90s Bulls dynasty. I look at a three-peat with Kobe and Shaq, and maybe I'm greedy, but I look at that as could have been better.
Now, Troyo's got a comment for you.
Go ahead, Troy. You have blamed LeBron for everything before. How you even want him to do everything? Well, have you?
So probably maybe now you even want him to do everything. I'm not sure.
Wait, put that up again. I can't read. I got to read that again.
Joe, you have blamed LeBron for everything before. How you even want him to do everything?
What did I blame him for everything before?
Maybe in regards to the stuff off the court. Again, his passive aggressiveness, his comments last season, the tweets, the hourglass, the wearing of the Knicks stuff when he was in New York. So I'm
not doing that, right? Am I doing that? Am I making him do that?
Again,
let's forget about the Lakers for a second. It's documented that he was talking to Pat Riley 17 games in Miami, and he was passively aggressively talking to Pat Riley about Eric Spoelstra, who's arguably the best coach of the last decade. Is that a fair assessment? Mm-hmm. That you could say he's been the best coach? He wanted him out. He's played for 9 coaches, 9 hired coaches. 1 is an interim, so I'm not going to count that. So what have I blamed him for everything? I blame him according to what he does, because a true leader doesn't do that stuff. Doesn't wear the opposite team's stuff to show something. When Kobe asked to be traded in 2007, what was that about? What do you think we were thinking at that point? Were we in support? Were we not? Well, I'll tell you what. At that time, I was indifferent. Again, Kobe was a Laker from the beginning. If LeBron was a Laker from the beginning, it'd probably be different.
See, Law Malcolm is right there. He says LeBron is a traitor who cheats the game.
Okay. He's not a cheater of the game. He's not a cheater of the game, and he's not a traitor. He's not a traitor. Okay?
Please explain yourself when you make those statements. How does he cheat the game?
Okay. And I'm gonna make one example too during the bubble so that you all understand that this wasn't me again. This is something I heard. Okay, that was going on. I'm not gonna bring up the social part of it. I'm just gonna tell you who got on him, because he has more credibility in this than any of us. Okay, but first of all, LeBron is not a traitor. LeBron has never asked to be traded. He has become a free agent and left upon his own recognizance. That's it. That's what that is for. Now, if Cleveland wants to get upset for him leaving twice, I get it. If Miami wants to get mad for him leaving Miami, I get it. I'm a fan. It's upsetting. I totally get it. Even if it's irrational, they're burning his jersey. It's stupid, but I get that.
Is he allowed to?
He is allowed to. That's why he's a free agent. He didn't force anybody's hand. He didn't make somebody lose picks and players for that. He left. That's the point. Now, he does napalm every team he leaves. That's what happens. He leaves and they're gone. Now, some will look at it as, well, when he leaves, he's that good that the team kind of falters. Okay, I'll buy that one. I'll roll with that one. But right now with the Lakers, forget about Cleveland and Miami. I don't give a shit about Cleveland or Miami. The Lakers right now are in a predicament because of the current collective bargaining agreement. And the fact that Genie is a big part of this ownership clan, and the fact that LeBron is an integral part of the league, probably still the number one guy, him and Steph. I still say LeBron is number one above Steph. The fact that they allowed this kind of deal to happen is an added fuel to the fire, because this is a detriment to my team's ability to get better. And the only way they can get better is if they redo this thing. But LeBron wants to make $50 million a year. Okay, I guess he has that right, but how are you going to win then with the setup? They don't have enough money to do anything. And then on top of that, you're bringing in people that aren't supposed to be playing on this team. They're not even supposed to be in the league. So how am I going to take you seriously that you want to win? You're just hoping that you're going to win. It's a lot of stuff, guys. It's a lot of stuff here. And that post that you had from, what's his name?
Who's that?
Trollo?
El Trollo, yes.
El Trollo. So I'm assuming you're calling yourself a troll for saying that, right? Because that's a troll comment. I blamed LeBron for everything before. What did I blame him for? Before. Was I supportive last year of the Lakers? Yes. The year before? Yes. Hell, I even supported the Russell Westbrook trade. After 3 years of supporting stupid decisions, now that I've become irate, now I'm hating? Is that how it works? Is that how it works? Guys, it's on tape. It's on tape. You can go listen. We were in full support. But just like the world, politics, whatever, you support stuff, then all of a sudden you sit there and like, holy crap, what am I supporting here? This is a disaster. I don't support this anymore because it's not working. But now I'm hating. Now I want LeBron to go away. Yes, there is some of that too, because that's how the system is structured now. It's based off winning. You guys are all so into your feelings, and you're all into being hurt over some guy who doesn't even know you're breathing. LeBron doesn't know you exist, and you're defending him like he's God. Guys, I want the Lakers to win. I'm a Laker fan. I don't give a shit about LeBron and AD and Kobe and Magic if it doesn't mean winning. Do you get it? Am I making myself clear here, G?
Yeah, I think you are, man.
I mean, I'm really trying to take this home for everyone. If you can't understand this after tonight, then there's no point in talking anymore. Because this is going to be the last time I discuss this. This is going to be the last time I discuss this in detail. If I comment on LeBron screwing up somewhere or complimenting him, and then somebody comes out with some weird-ass assessment, I'm just going to ignore it. I'll comment on it maybe at that moment, but that's it.
You said you had some questions for our audience that you're going to take?
Yeah. So let's see. JY just said, what does panel think? LeBron isn't playing for a championship. Why doesn't that concern him, Joe and G? My guess is because maybe there's a possibility this might be his last year. He wanted to play with his son. He'll try his best to finish this out and then retire. I think that's my first guess.
See, I don't agree with that. I think he's going to do another 1-1 at the end of this year.
If you do that, you're just prolonging this disaster.
Oh, I know. I agree with you on that. I'm just telling you what I think he will do if he feels good enough at the end of the year and says, you know what, I want to go ahead and do this again. And the Lakers will sign him for another $50 million plus on a 1-on-1 deal, leaving his options open. And he likes this. At the end of his career, he's leaving his options open to play into his 40s because he'll keep on doing it. He'll keep on maxing it out as much money as he wants to get from the Lakers. And it'll, in detriment, be a problem for the Lakers going forward. But his JY is asking, he isn't playing for the championship. Again, for me, it's just simple mathematics. You could have signed for a lot less. You're a billionaire, endorsements. You're talking about merging your entertainment company with Kim Kardashian's company. If the rumors were and the news were correct and reports were correct from the entertainment sites last week, you might make some money off of that. So you tell me. You tell me if you're being in the best interest of this team, if you're getting LeBron a full 3 to 4 year ride as a spot where he's not even ready for the NBA. Did you see him last night in the G League? He looked awful last night in the G League. He is not ready for NBA play. He is not ready to help you as a team. He may never be ready. I don't know if he will be. But that a guy taking up a roster spot on your team, you could have put to someone else that could have been helping you on the team. I know that McMenamin is saying, oh, yes, the Lakers outscored the Toronto Raptors off the bench tonight, 40 to 29. That came from mainly from two individuals off the bench, Jackson Hayes and D'Angelo Russell. So let's not go do backflips. Yes, it was outstanding that they scored 40, but mainly that came from two guys. So we have to get solid contributions from a lot of guys, but the fact is you already got Bronny taking up one of those spots. You could have got someone possibly to help the Lakers now instead of maybe possibly later. And then LeBron, again, could have taken less money to bring in better players now instead of maybe possibly waiting later. And that's the problem. We're all on standby, Joe. Until LeBron retires, we're all on standby because the team that they have now, I don't think under LeBron or AD, and LeBron and AD now will ever reach back to that top of the mountain they reached in 2020. It's going to be very difficult to do so under this new CBA because they didn't have that same type of CBA in 2020, but they have it now, Joe. And it's clear the directive is unless this team is on a verge of an NBA championship, Genie does not want them to go into that second tax apron.
And to get off this LeBron thing, I don't want to put all of it on LeBron as well, too, even though he's got to play, especially the last 6 months. He's had as big a part in this disaster as anybody, but he still is being okayed by ownership to do this. And if Genie's going to constantly be worried about an apron or two, it's time for the Lakers to think of other options because you have two lousy leaders right now running the Lakers. Not only the ownership team control people, but also the people that are in charge of the facility. And at what point is this going to change? You have competent companies out there that are running really good organizations, Guggenheim's, and I'm going to be campaigning for them to take a stab at this. The Guggenheims have run a phenomenal operation with the Dodgers. And there has been some discussion that there would be something there if it was to open, especially considering the real estate there in downtown LA. And I think that's something that I'm putting in my own head, even though I don't know if it's ever going to happen, in my own head for my own sanity. But what will happen is that will be something to look into eventually, because Jeannie is not a spring chicken. She's not going to want to be doing this in her 70s. And I'm sorry, I'm not Joey and Jesse. I'm sorry, I don't see those guys running the Lakers. And you already tried the brothers. Both the brothers are dingleberries. There's no way those guys are going to be able to do anything ever again. So what? Now where does this team go? Are you going to have somebody from AEG running this? Yeah, that's not going to happen either. So I'm getting my. They did, didn't they? That is true. That is true. They have bought the shares from AEG, correct?
Yeah, I thought they did.
But they don't own the building yet.
No, they do
Okay,
not
that's
own
what it was. Okay, so
I think they bought. I don't know if AEG still has a portion of shares in the team. That's never really made public as far as 100%.
I heard something. I just knew they didn't own the arena.
Yeah, they don't own the arena.
Yeah, that's all I know. But as far as their shares of the Laker percentage, I actually didn't know that.
Again, that's always why I say that.
I'm going to look into that, Bloodhound. You the man. Thank you for bringing that up. I'm going to look into that.
Yeah, AEG owns the building, but that's something I think at some point, if Jeannie decides to still stay with this team long term, or if a new owner comes in, that they may want to move the Lakers to their own space. Now, I understand that there may not be many spots there in Los Angeles, but they would find one because they see what is going on with the latest. It's just like the new hotels and casinos here in Vegas, Joe. As soon as the new one comes up, everybody wants to go to it. Everybody wants to have one like it. Everybody wants to build one like it, and then so on and so forth. Right now, the Intuit Dome is the talk of the NBA with its wall and with all the big marquee wrapping around all the stuff that's going on with it. The fact that you could order everything from your seat, all that technology put in there, that there are others that want to emulate it. And Jeannie is probably jealous of Steve Ballmer right now because of it. Not because of the organization, but because of the arena itself.
And that would be pretty fitting if she was. Why would you be jealous? The Madison Square Garden has been around for forever.
Well, let's say we're both renting apartments, Joe. We're in an apartment complex, and we're both renting apartments, and they're nice. They're nice apartments. They're well above average, even though they have been there for 25 years now. All of a sudden, your neighbor, or let's say you move out into your nice home that you have now. Am I going to be jealous, even though I'm still sitting in a nice apartment, renting or leasing? Yeah, I am going to be jealous because you moved out into your own nice home that is owned by you. Is that not correct?
Mm-hmm.
So Jeannie, remember, she does not get, or I don't know how the deals worked out, but she's not getting all the money taken in from the concessions, coming in for the parking, coming in for all the other, add-ons in that area, in and around LA Live, and also as well the Crypt. So I'm assuming if she's the business person that she is often said she is, it's just natural that you would want that bigger piece of the pie.
Bloodhound just made me happy right now. Honestly, I actually did not know.
Bloodhound's good at that. So yeah,
Bloodhound, hell of a update there, man. I actually did not know that.
So okay, Bloodhound says 6 bus kids own 66%.
That I knew, but I didn't know the Guggenheims had 27%. So right now, this is becoming probably something that we're going to be able to look into here soon.
Does that dentist still own 3 or 4%?
Yes, he does.
Okay.
But he's a billionaire from something else, isn't he?
No. Have you seen cavities for kids? I told you the story when I was managing rental cars for Hertz here at Vegas. I comped a customer's rental. We were talking for about an hour, and I said, "Oh yeah, what do you do for a living?" "I'm a kid's dentist, a podiatrist, dentist, pediatric dentist in Chicago." So yeah, you want to know how I became a millionaire many times over? I said, how? Orange juice. And I'll leave it at that.
So they create the disease so that they can cure it.
You got yourself right there on the butt, my friend. And I was just laughing. I said, took me a second. I'm like, that's right. There's so much sugar in orange juice. There you go.
Sad. Parents, there's no such thing as orange juice unless it's coming out
Orange
of orange
juice,
juice.
Kurt. Orange juice.
Yes, orange juice, not OJ, not Orenthal James. Anyways.
There you go, Bloodhead. Yes, Dr. Shun Xiang. Yes.
Anyway, so we've had some requests here to talk about the Steelers, according to Bloodhound, right?
Yes. And for all the work he's done, absolutely.
Bloodhound, since you brought it up, I'll get back to the Laker thing real quick, but I'll talk about the Steelers. So today's game was one of those games where you're watching it and you're going, how are they going to win this game? Because usually this was the first game where somebody scored 27 points and they still won. Usually they got to keep people in the teens before they win. If somebody scores 27, they usually lose it. This is the first time they've won a game allowing 27 points in a game since 2021 against the Bears, which doesn't say much because the Bears sucked in 2021 too.
I guess he's, because I'm looking up now. I thought he was a dentist for some reason. He's actually he's the founder of NatWorks, a network of healthcare, biotech, and artificial intelligence startups.
He did some kind of patent where he made billions. I know that's what he did. But he's
only worth $62.2 billion.
But he's known as a guy that's not greedy. He's not one of those money type guys either, which is very nice. He's about doing things right. He's got a reputation for that, so good for him. I hope. He's not going to run the team, by the way, either.
He just wanted a piece of it just to say he wanted a piece of it.
Right.
So. He can't afford them because he's.
I want to. Tomlin got a lot of flack today for that fake punt on his own side. Steeler fans were going nuts, and I'm sitting there going, "It was the perfect call. The idiot dropped it. Pierre dropped it. He would have ran for 40 yards if you just." Caught it and then ran. Instead, he was trying to catch it so he could run. Anyways, it was an enjoyable game, man. Sometimes the other team plays well, folks. I have to tell this to my Steeler fans. Steeler fans are terrible, by the way. Steeler fans are some of the worst fans. They're not Philly or Yankee fans or those kind of fans, but they can get obnoxiously stupid. This is the same fan base that threw trash in Tommy Maddox's yard. Like, really? You actually got out of your slumber and your shithole house to go get garbage, probably from your own place, to go throw at some guy's yard? Really? So, the Steelers start the gamut starting next week. They have not played anyone in their division yet. 9 games in. So they're going to play 6 of the next 8 games against the division. And the other 2 games are Philly and KC. They're going to earn it. They're going to earn it. Cincinnati's going to be tough, even though they're having a tough time right now. Cleveland, one of those games is going to be tough. And then, of course, you got Baltimore. So it's going to be the Steelers are going to earn it here if they plan on possibly going to the playoffs and winning some playoff games this time. So I'll be there for the ride.
I do have a final update for Anthony Davis before we go off the air. Trying to put sources told ESPN that Lakers big man Anthony Davis experienced swelling as a result of the contact by Jakob Poeltl, making it difficult to keep his left eye open. Davis will have his eye examined by an ophthalmologist on Monday, sources told ESPN, as a precautionary measure.
Little ice, little ointment, maybe should be good for Wednesday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, AD. I'm not insensitive in that. But start wearing glasses. But go talk to Horace Grant and James Worthy. There's some nice ones. So Adu, is it Adu? Can you talk Mahomes and Chiefs?
He loves Mahomes.
Well, Gerald, you were there when I predicted the upset.
Yes.
And if that Putz kicker would have just moved a little bit quicker, I think they would have won that game. But I did cover. Chiefs were favored by 7.5, and I thought that was way too much. So, as far as Mahomes winning, Chiefs winning, folks, this happens in every era. You have that team that's elite, winning Super Bowls, and they seem to always win these kind of games. It's not something new. New England did it. Dallas did it. Niners did it. Steelers did it. Cowboys did it in the 70s. Packers, I'm sure, did it. I wasn't around at that time. So I wouldn't look into it too much. However, I will say this. If you catch the Kansas City Chiefs correctly in the playoffs, you have a shot. They're not indestructible. And they really haven't been the last year or so. Their defense has been better than their offense to a degree. But when you have Patrick Mahomes and you're getting all the calls and he's protected too, yeah, you're going to get these kind of games. But I would say it's not a for sure thing that they're going to go all the way. That's likely not going to happen. And you know, in general, you don't want to think that way anyways. It's just not. It's the NFL's a little too even in a lot of areas.
Yes, Bloodhound, he does have bad luck with those injuries because he had one in March. It's the same eye as the one in March. So he's going to see an ophthalmologist. Yeah, I bet he hates the glasses. I bet he hates the goggles. That's just why.
I get it. You look goofy, but he's got to do something here, man.
Sometimes it's the peripheral vision. I mean, Rui couldn't stand remember his mask. He couldn't.
But that was a mask. This is glasses.
Mm-hmm.
And he wears glasses. He wears glasses, like seeing glasses. I don't know. He's got to do something because he's getting hit in the face every year, at least once every couple of weeks. At what point are you going to start protecting yourself? Because if he was wearing glasses, he wouldn't have this problem right now.
Yeah.
But anyways, what other questions do we have here?
Are we just going to, or maybe end it because we're right at 11? It's up to you, man.
I'll give it 7 more minutes. If you guys have any more questions for especially the LeBron discussion, I want to make sure that I have everything that needs to be said here about the LeBron situation. Again, I am not going to bring this up in detail again. If you are stubborn and inconsiderate and keep telling yourself something's going on when it's not, then I can't help you. And I'm not going to care anymore. At some point, the discussion is going to stop. And I'm just going to keep talking. And if you're going to keep saying things, and I'm going to ignore it. Because there's no use. You're not going to fucking listen. I do not hate LeBron James, on or off the court. But if you guys are in denial, and you're delusional in that I can't criticize him when he does stupid shit, then you're a moron. I've criticized every player that has played for all of my teams. Big Ben, Jerome Bettis, Willie Parker, Troy Polamalu even, LeBron, Kobe, Powell, Ariza, all of them. You just haven't been with me the whole time. You're just stuck on this LeBron thing. Because I wasn't doing a podcast then. And LeBron wasn't a Laker then.
Oh, so by the way, before you go, I got a question. I'll let Xbox, then I've got a question. I asked Gerald this too, Mark, saying, does this LeBron sideshow happen if Kobe is alive? I don't mean to bring up such a hard subject. I don't think LeBron would have come to the Lakers if Kobe was still on it. Logistically or money-wise, it probably wouldn't have worked out.
No, he wouldn't have come if Kobe was playing. No.
Yeah, they just wouldn't jive together on this. It's like an alpha.
I don't think that
alpha thing. Yeah. It's just that.
What I am interested in, what I wish we could have maybe seen is, would Rob Pelinka be doing what he's doing if Kobe was alive?
That's an even better question. I'd say yes.
And also, so you guys know that I'm not playing favoritism here. You could talk to my friends about this. It's a little more personal side of things, but I don't like the fact that Kobe didn't get along with his family. That's a bad sign. Regardless of what was going on. I know that there was talk about people taking advantage, and I know that when you're rich and famous, certain things happen and all that, but guys like Freddie Freeman are rich and famous. You don't see them having those issues. And I always look at that, and I can't I can't pick and choose that. Okay. Usually when you have issues with your family, I wonder about how you handle your business. It's how my brain works, guys. How does that happen? How are you not getting along with your family? Why? What did you do? Well, it's not him. It's them. They're greedy. They're selling his stuff. Yeah, sure. Why did it get to that? This is Kobe Bryant. I think he's powerful enough to not allow that to happen in my book. And that's something I've talked about a lot with my friends. I haven't talked about it on here. No one's perfect, guys. No one's perfect. No one is above criticism.
One thing I want to ask, speaking of criticism, you are on one of the premier Lakers chat boards as a regular, Ox1947, LakersBall.com. So they were very hard on you, including them coming up with, something along the lines of the contest that we're going to have, as far as the black olives that you had to eat, et cetera, et cetera. That's where it originated, was through Lakers Ball. How are they reacting now to the teams? Well, now 6-4, but the teams, I'm going to still say it's a rocky start. How are they kind of retracting their comments just a little bit going back on it? Maybe
there was talk that guys were talking about how looks like Ox might be on the right path. But see, Lakers Ball have known me since 2016. They know I probably I don't think I've ever been as angry as I was draft night. I was going off pretty bad.
Which one, this year or the last?
This year.
Oh, for the Bronny thing.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I was upset. I was upset because.
Well, I knew you would be.
I was upset because it confirmed the fact that these guys were not focused on winning.
I mean, it's something we predicted. It was easy to see. It looked like the writing was on the wall. I said on the air it was going to happen. And you knew, you denied it, but you knew it was going to happen.
Sure.
And it took Mark and about
somebody lying in your face. See, and the other thing is when you escalate, what is it called when you try to hide something and when you're caught and it makes it worse?
I know what you're talking about, yeah, but I don't know.
Let's say let's say you're lying, right? Mm-hmm. You get caught, yet you try to fabricate something else so that you can deny that you are lying, yet it makes it worse. So then you have nitwits like Rich Paul who come out and say, "Oh, he would have been drafted anyways." Like, dude, really?
No.
I mean, are we that stupid?
No.
Seriously? And that's the stuff that kept adding to the fire. I don't like being talked down to, even if it's somebody I don't know and is telling me something, especially when it involves my favorite team. Stop bullshitting. Just shut the hell up then if you're going to lie like that. If you actually believe that, then you're a moron. You're dumb. And you should be called dumb to your face. Like, dude, stop insulting people's intelligence. And if people believe you, they're just as stupid as you, if not worse.
JY has a final question.
Married, when you get married young like Kobe, doesn't wife come before immediate family, mother? That's a great question, Jay.
Because we don't know all the dynamics of what went on with it.
All right, that's a great question. That's an absolutely great question. First of all, I'm with his parents on that. 21 years old, Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant at 21 was a movie star. Forget about NBA star. He was a movie star. He was a Brad Pitt of sports. why wouldn't his parents be all up in like what's going on? Now, there was some talk on that they weren't happy about him marrying someone outside his race, which I can identify with very well. I'm a minority myself. My parents came to America and they were very with trying to stay within their culture. That's a culture preservation thing. Only people in America call it racism. It's a culture preservation thing. Language, food, church. It's inherently in a lot of cultures where we want to preserve that. We want to keep it within the family, keep it within the culture. From that standpoint, looking at it from how I grew up, I understood his parents' concern there. And then, of course, he made it worse by what happened in 04 or 03. They were right. They were right. Am I right, G?
Yes, you're
They
right.
were right. So, no one is above criticism, folks. Sorry. LeBron James is not above criticism, especially when from what he's done the last year.
And on that note, final nightcap for Joe right there.
I'm
All
almost
right.
done here. Yeah, let me finish it. Luckily, the ice stayed within this too.
Yeah, there you go.
That means it's not as hot anymore.
So tomorrow, Joe and I will be back. Lakers Fast Break University will be here on Veterans Day. Shout out again to all the veterans. Truly want to thank you for the service for our country. I'm hoping 9, but it's up to Joe if it's 9 or 10. We will be coming back with the Lakers Fast Break University Lakers History 101 on the 1995 Lakers, Joe. We got a request on that. How fun was it to watch? Don't say now, but how fun was it to watch the 1995 Los Angeles Lakers? A lot of things happened in that year, that season, Magic's final season. I've got a little interesting tidbit I want to drop on there. I don't think many realize on that, so I'll go ahead and do that on Lakers History 101. Special request for a class session tomorrow night as well. So yes, absolutely. Got a busy week. Reggae Joe just hit me up again asking about Tuesday. He's not happy about the fact that Chet Holmgren is now out for 8 to 10 weeks with a hip injury. So he's going to be talking about that on NBA observations and more. Wednesday is the game. Thursday, we come back for a snack pack. Friday and Saturday, Lakers are on the road back to back. So we'll be covering all that as well. So yeah, Joe, it's going to be a busy week. Got a lot of stuff to do, see and do. So any last thoughts before we head on out?
Jokic's line tonight was...
Yeah, he plays video games. Sometimes it's just video games.
So Denver is back on track, folks.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Their demise was greatly exaggerated. So
they're gonna be a problem. We all knew this, though. This isn't a surprise.
Well, I think the bench came into play as far as how bad or good would the bench be. I know that Magic Man and I were going back and forth on it. The bench has been inconsistent for them, but when you have Jokic and if Michael Porter Jr. has played well, let's give him some credit. And even with Aaron Gordon out, yeah, man, they're still looking good.
I'm still pretty comfortable that Denver's going to be the team here in the West. I know Oklahoma City has a lot of talent and they're on the come up, but I think they're probably a year away with one more player that they need.
Big shout out to Search and Destroy, the best that there is out there.
Did I make myself available to understanding how I come out of this with LeBron James?
I think you did. And I
Was
hope
that enough, folks? Because this is the last time.
I don't think it'll be a last time.
No, I mean in detail like this. I'm not going to do this again for this.
Okay. All right.
I'm not. I will explain scenarios of what's going on at the moment. And if you come out with hating stuff, I'll address it at that point. But I'm not.
What if we get to 10,000 subscribers or 20,000 subscribers, like a year, 2 years, 3 years from now? They're going to want an explanation on.
Well, we have that many people. When we do, the crowd will explain it to them.
Okay, all right. I'll tell them to revert back to this episode. You guys mark it then. Search and Destroy. You're the best, my friend. Thank you. And he put in a super chat. He said, "God bless Lakers fam. You're the best there is, my friend. We just are truly blessed to have you doing what you do. I'm hoping the other channels give you that same kind of love that you do. You so much work for us, and we're all indebted to you for your time on that. Joe?
Yeah, Search has been.
He's the best, man.
Search has been destroying, which is
Yes.
speaking of destroy. One of our main characters in Corrupt, his name is Destroy,
Oh, there you go.
and he does a lot of searching and destroying.
So there you go. They named a character in Corrupt after you, Search. Let's go ahead and say from now they claimed after you. Yes, they named a character in the game after you. You can go ahead and claim that. Just dealing with Xbox, JSJ, Cool Bro, all those troublemakers that are out there. But we love you guys. Well, except for Cool Bro. I know Joe hates him, but
no, I don't hate anybody.
Okay,
except child abusers.
Okay, all right. And on that note, Sports Baby says, Gerald, don't give Search a big hit. Okay. After all the dick jokes.
Search, you're the greatest person that's ever lived.
Well, after all the dick jokes that we got through tonight, actually it wasn't as bad.
It wasn't as bad because Reddish closed them out.
Yeah. He did.
He shut that dick down.
Yes, so there you go. Yep.
Wait, that
knew it was
sound
coming.
right.
That didn't. No.
He was in the no dick zone.
There you go. Yeah.
That was good, but kind of vulgar.
Still said it. There you go.
All right. Thank you all for showing up. Gerald, thanks for hanging out. Hope you enjoyed your dinner, whatever it was.
No, I haven't even had it yet. But,
good. So for those of you who want to get back at me, if you guys want to continue some more discussion, you can email us at LakersFastBreak@yahoo.com. You can connect with me directly on Facebook. I'm known as Johnny Blade on Facebook. You can direct message me on that. If you want to direct message me on Instagram, I'm SinBlades_turf. And then, of course, X. I am Joe Soro, LFB. So for tonight, Lakers win by 20, 123-103. Talked a little LeBron, talked a little bit about everything here and there. Had a nice drink, went down smooth. And again, thank you for joining us tonight. And until next time, we'll see you next time.